Now the problem, of course, is when you get down there, it gets a little bit rough because the signal and noise is actually kind of low. I mean, it is, you know, a network analyzer with a fairly low power output. But that means right now we've got a direct path, and now the question then becomes, if we take our wall, in this case a piece of styrofoam with aluminum foil wrapped around it, it looks like a pretty good wall. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of knife edge diffraction, there's a little bit of beam being larger or over illuminating the wall, so that accounts for the fact that it's not down to say 50 dB, plus there's multiband reflections. But it looks pretty good. I mean, this is, hello, there we go. That's minus 15 dB down from the direct path. Here, you know, 2.5, 2.6, it's down about minus 20, minus 25, and so on. Justin, you can take it back off there and prove that it goes back up. So the point is that what we've got here is an indication that knife edge diffraction, at least in this example, is fairly minimal in terms of generating front scatter. And let me remind you the kind of length of a wavelength here, since we're talking up at S-band. So this is an illustration to indicate one wavelength at these frequencies. So you can see the separation of the antennas is many, many wavelengths. The physical size of the wall is electrically large and so on. So I'm not trying to exploit some particular aspect of RCS as it beats up and down. I'm merely saying it's electrically large, and sure enough, it cuts things down. So our knife edge diffraction is set at a maximum between 15 and 20 dB compared to that direct path from 2.5 to 3 gigahertz. Edge diffraction makes for a lousy window. It's not a good way to get front scatter. There's, I said, probably some bleed from the power pad being slightly larger than the subtended angle of the wall and multipath and so on. And the signal and noise time variations are indicative of low SNR. It isn't that we're moving around or anything like that. All right, so the question becomes, we want to make this as a reasonable window. First of all, we want to make sure there's no hole in the wall. That's cheating. We're not going to do that. And at the end of this demo, we will positively demonstrate to you that there is a wall in front of the cloak, so don't worry about that. We're going to put some covering over the wall, but we want it to be electrically thin. If it's electrically thick, you know, what good does that do us? Certainly at RF, it's not going to be practical to work with that kind of system. We need the transmission, that is the gain, to be, within a couple of dB of the direct path. In other words, we want to make sure the front scatter is propagated with high fidelity within, say, a couple of dB of what you get with nothing there at all. And finally, and this is a key factor, it's a big issue in visibility cloaks, we want to have good bandwidth. It turns out that there's a big controversy in visibility cloaks about whether you can get more than, say, 1 or 2% bandwidth. And given the fact that we basically had 20% bandwidth or more 10 years ago, to us it's kind of a non-issue. But the point is that you want to make sure this is not a high Q system, and you also want to make sure that it's not a low SNR system. All right, so here's how we're going to get there. This is how we're going to make our window out of the wall. There's a couple of fun pieces of physics that we're going to concatenate together. And the first one deals with metamaterials. How many in the audience are working with metamaterials or, yeah, okay, great. Well, as you well know, as my colleagues, the definition of metamaterial keeps on changing as a function of time. To me as a physicist, that's an abhorrent notion. It's like you define and then move ahead.